Corrie newcomer set to ruin cancer-stricken Kev Webster's life with animal attraction. Exclusive. Warning, spoilers ahead. Express chatted to Carl Webster, actor Jonathan Howard, who shared spoilers for next week's nail-biting episodes. Coronation Street star Carl Webster is new to the cobbles as Kevin's estranged brother, but he's about to make some big waves. Although he's come to Weatherfield to support Kevin in his battle with testicular cancer, he could be about to tear his life apart over his instinctive attraction to his partner Abby, Sally Carmen. Carl actor Jonathan Howard has shared the shocking betrayal and simmering resentment Carl is harboring towards Kevin behind the scenes, which will come to a head in the coming episodes. Will he be able to resist his feelings for Abby, or could the pair embark on a full-blown affair behind Kev's cancer diagnosis? Carl is very impulsive, he thinks with his pants, Jonathan confessed, before revealing that he was about to lean in to kiss Abby when he called number 13 and found her home alone. New to Corrie Street, a beastly attraction is ruining Kev Webster's life. Coronation Street is never short of drama, but this time it's more than residents could have imagined. As Kev Webster, a middle-aged mechanic who has just been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, tries to hold on to a moment of peace with his friends and son Jack, disaster strikes in the form of a new woman. Her name is Roxy Wilde, a stranger with cat-like eyes, fiery red hair and a smile that seems to know everyone's secrets. Roxy first appears at the Rover's Return Inn, simply ordering a gin and sitting quietly. But no one expects that within days she'll be on Kev's radar, and vice versa. He was mesmerized, Kev's ex-wife Sally said, looking worried. She had this predatory look in her eyes. I am not kidding. Kev, who was battling cancer and should have been resting and recovering, was instead immersed in a strange new relationship. Late-night rendezvous, secret outings, and the sound of laughter echoing in the garage, it all made everyone nervous. Kev's best friend Tim said, I've never seen Kev like this. He said she made him feel alive. But I think it was infatuation, not love. Things got serious when Roxy began to show signs of controlling Kev, from finances to cutting back on his cancer treatment in favor of self-healing meditation. She took Kev to secret gatherings where people whispered about primal animal energy and wild attraction. Kev's son Jack, after accidentally seeing Roxy growling at the neighbor's cat when no one was looking, tried to warn his father. But Kev just laughed, stroked Roxy's messy hair and said, You don't understand, Dad, I haven't felt like this since your mother left. One night, Sally and Tim decided to follow Roxy. They discovered that she had a past in a cult that used to charm sick men for their wealth. The pieces of the puzzle began to fit together, and then, one foggy morning, Kev disappeared. Leaving behind only a scrawled note, She calls me, Wolf, and I want to run with my pack one last time. Roar in Redfern Forest. 3 days after Kev Webster disappeared, Coronation Street was in a state of confusion. Roxy Wilde had also evaporated, without a trace, leaving behind a deserted garage, where Kev's leather jacket hung like a ghost guarding a secret. Sally, although no longer Kev's wife, was still the one who understood him best. She did not believe that someone like Kev, loving his children, loving life and resilient despite being seriously ill, would easily give up everything to pursue a delusional dream. Following information about the primitive animal cult, Sally and Tim found a small forest called Redfern, a few hours' drive from Manchester. The locals avoided this place at night, whispering about strange howls under the full moon and yellow-eyed creatures lurking in the darkness. They camped at the edge of the woods, hoping to find a dilapidated hut, or at most a group of strange people with a fire and singing. But as night fell, the roaring began. It wasn't a normal wild animal. It had a rhythm, almost a call. The next morning, they found a circle of stones in the woods, burned and bloodied in the middle. Tim started to back away, but Sally stepped forward, finding a handkerchief embroidered with the letters, KW. There was no doubt, Kev was here. Suddenly, a voice called out, "He's free." It was Roxy. She stepped out from the shadows, unafraid. Her leather jacket, her hair down, and her eyes, no longer human. Yellow, like amber. He's always been a wolf trapped in a human cage. I just helped him escape, Roxy said, her voice sweet and creepy. Cancer is just the old stuff that needs to be removed so that the instincts can rise. Where's Kev? Sally shouted. From the bushes, a dark figure emerged, large, short, but standing. A creature? Or a person? It crouched down, its familiar eyes on Sally. Kev? It nodded, then turned away, disappearing into the woods. Roxy smiled. He's no longer of this world. And me? I'm looking for the next one. Sally couldn't sleep that night. The image of Kev, or something resembling Kev, was constantly in her mind. It was no longer the man who had carefully fixed every screw in his car, carried his son to school in the rain, cried silently in the clinic when he learned he had cancer. What she had seen in the woods was a creature torn between two worlds. Tim, ever the practical man, tried to explain everything scientifically. It could be a hallucination or Kev is being manipulated, he said. Roxy is definitely involved in some form of brainwashing. We need to get Kev back. Before it's too late, they returned to Corrie Street. But Roxy was already there. She rented a room above the grocery store, and moved about as if nothing had happened. She smiled, said hello, said Kev was resting at a natural healing center. Strangely enough, people began to believe her. Even those who had doubted and gossiped had turned to support. Sally herself began to be shunned. She brought the positive energy that Kev needed. You should let the past rest, Dev, the shopkeeper, said. That made Sally's skin crawl. Then one night, Jack, Kev's son, went missing. The police found no trace. But Sally knew. Roxy had begun selecting the next generation. Sally and Tim, at all costs, returned to Redfern Forest. They followed the distant howls, followed the small footprints in the mud, until they found a large tent covered in animal skins and dangling claws like charms. Inside was a circle, Kev, still humanoid, sitting in the middle of a fire, eyes closed. Next to him was Jack. Kev. It's me, Sally. I can't let Roxy take my son. Kev opened his eyes. They were no longer human. But he cried, I don't know who I am anymore. Roxy said I was born to be a leader. That illness was just a cover for my instincts to come out. But I remember the sound of you singing when Jack was a baby. The smell of grease under your fingernails. The smell of the coffee you used to burn. Sally stepped forward. Then remember, I am Kev Webster. Jack's father. Not just any wolf. A roar echoed from deep in the forest. Roxy appeared, no longer human, but something half human, half beast, full of power. It's too late, Sally. The pack has chosen. Kev is one of us. And the boy, he will be the successor. Quote.